There are these moments often after you've heard something really beautiful. For me, recently, it was just sitting in the quiet after Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini.
Oh, fantastic piece.
It really is. And there's something about classical piano, especially, the Russian romantics, Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky.
Yes. So much passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got this depth, a kind of raw humanity that feels... it just hits differently compared to some modern stuff, doesn't it?
It really does. It grabs you, pulls you right into its world emotionally.
Totally. And that feeling, that sort of connection, that's really the anchor for the material we're looking at today.
Right.
It's a personal reflection from someone named Joseph. He's recounting this conversation he had with his father. Started with music.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up somewhere much deeper.
Yeah, it's a lovely setup, starting with Joseph's real passion for classical piano. He even shares this very vivid memory, his first concert, early 20s.
Seeing Alicia de la Rocha play Ratch 3, right?
That's the one. And he describes it so well. The fountain outside, the lights inside, the buzz.
Paints a real picture. And then he talks about getting so completely swept away by the music that he starts, unconsciously conducting right there in his seat.
Just lost in it completely.
Totally. So much that the person next to him, probably after watching this for a bit, finally leans over and just says, very politely, you really like it, don't you?
Yeah. A perfect little snapshot of how music can just take you over.
It is. And this music, it's also a bond between him and his father, even though they live far apart now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he mentions they used to listen together more. And now sometimes he'll play something and sort of mentally project it, hoping his dad somehow picks up on it.
That's quite touching, a kind of musical telepathy.
Yeah, maybe he believes he does sense it. It's this quiet connection.
Cross the distance.
And that connection, built around listening together, it really sets the stage for this incredibly insightful conversation they have. So our mission really in this deep dive is to go beyond just telling the story. We want to unpack it, really extract the wisdom from this father-son chat about, life, what accomplishment means, what really matters in the end.
Pull out those core insights that apply to, everyone.
Exactly. So let's get into it. The conversation kicks off after they've listened to the Rhapsody. Joseph's obviously moved, says something like, I wish I'd become a concert pianist.
A familiar kind of thought, that what if?
Right. And the father's first reaction is very practical, almost blunt.
Okay.
He brings up Rachmaninoff's famously huge hands, spanning an octave and a half.
Legendary hands, yes.
And he just says to Joseph, your hands are too small.
Ooh, okay. Direct.
Yeah. And Joseph, you can imagine he takes it pretty personally at first. So does that mean I couldn't have done it anyway?
Right. Interpreting it as a closed door.
Yeah.
A limitation.
But then the father clarifies. And this is, I think, a really key moment.
What does he say?
He says it didn't mean you couldn't. It meant you would have had to work harder.
Yeah.
Specifically for Rachmaninoff's music with smaller hands.
That's a crucial difference. A very important distinction.
Totally. It reframes it completely.
Yeah.
Not impossible. Just more demanding, more effort required for that specific challenge.
It suggests possibility, but acknowledges the higher cost. That's powerful.
It is. And it sort of opens a doorway. And through that door, the father asks a much, much deeper question.
Okay.
He just asks Joseph straight up, aren't you happy with what you've become?
Wow. That cuts deep.
It really does. Forces some real thinking.
Yeah.
And Joseph's answer, after pausing, is, it's no.
Honest?
Very. And he puts words to it, asks, what have I ever accomplished that matters?
Oof. That feeling, questioning the meaning of it all. So many people feel that at some point.
Absolutely. And notice the father's response. He doesn't jump in with, but you did this, you did that.
No platitudes.
No. He just hands the question right back.
That's a question only you can answer. Making Joseph own it. Which sounds like it might have initially made things feel worse.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Joseph says he kind of sank into this melancholy, saw his life as an unmemorable concerto.
Wow.
Felt like, quote, just one more mediocrity stumbling through life with no understanding of what I'm here for.
That's a low point, a real crisis of purpose.
Definitely. And from that place, that real searching, he asked his father the big one. What's the purpose of my life?
The ultimate question.
And this is where the father gives that central piece of wisdom. It's maybe a bit enigmatic at first.
Okay, what is it?
The source says he's sipping his wine, looking right at Joseph, and he says, the same as everyone else's, to write your name.
To write your name. Okay. That is a bit cryptic.
Right. Not the answer you might expect. Joseph certainly didn't get it immediately. He's like, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, fair reaction.
But this is where the father's approach is so good. He doesn't just spell it out.
He guides him.
Yes. Turns the question back again. Makes Joseph think. He asks, where's the only place you can write your name so that it will live on far after you are gone?
Pushing him beyond the literal, the physical, like not on paper, not carved in stone.
Exactly. So Joseph thinks through different possibilities until he gets it.
And the answer is?
On the hearts and minds of other people.
Ah, there it is. The lasting impact.
Yes. And the father just smiles. Joseph feels like, okay, that was the right answer. He got it.
That's the core then. Purpose isn't about statues or fame. It's about the impression you leave on others, the effect you have.
Precisely. It shits the whole idea of accomplishment, doesn't it?
It really does. But then the practical side kicks in. Joseph asks, well, but how do you do that? How do you write your name on hearts and minds?
Good question. The how.
Yeah.
And the father's answer here. Joseph describes it as feeling like sweeter music than the concerto.
Wow. What was it?
He says, there's a million ways, but always with a hand guided by love and a pen that flows with the free giving of yourself.
A hand guided by love, a pen that flows with the free giving of yourself. That's beautiful.
Isn't it? It captures the way you make that impact. It's not manipulation. It's not forced. It's genuine care, generosity, giving freely of who you are.
That's the method. Love and selflessness. That's how you leave that mark.
And Joseph just knew instantly that his father was right. So with this new framework for purpose, the father circles back to Joseph's original feeling, asks him again, so what have you accomplished in your lifetime?
And does Joseph have a different answer now?
Interestingly, no.
Yeah.
Not immediately. His answer is still not enough. Maybe still feeling that earlier weight.
Okay. Still processing it, maybe.
Perhaps. And the conversation, the direct back and forth, kind of wraps up for a moment there. The father adds this gentle nudge.
Yeah.
Then don't forget that we're all just visitors here. Maybe it's time to pick up your tools and get to work.
A call to action, but a kind one. We're temporary, so make the time count. Use your tools, love. Giving.
Right. And then they shift gears. Pour more wine. Decide to listen to another concerto. Back to that shared quiet space.
But the real understanding, the deep absorption of this idea for Joseph,
Right.
that happens next, right? While they're listening?
Exactly. It sinks in while he's listening to the music, watching his father. He has this big realization.
What does he realize?
He understands his father wasn't just telling him about writing his name on hearts and minds.
He's doing it.
He had been doing it all along with Joseph. Writing his name on my heart and mind, Joseph says, through his love, guidance, and the wisdom he shared.
Wow.
Living the lesson.
Totally. And crucially, Joseph notes, it wasn't always big dramatic moments. It happened in tiny ways, sometimes imperceptible, yet leaving their mark all the same.
That's so important. It's not always grand gestures. It's the small, consistent things, the quiet acts of connection, generosity, guidance.
Day-to-day stuff. And seeing that pattern in his father, really understanding how this writing happens, Joseph makes this silent vow to himself.
That from that moment on, he would do a better job of writing my name.
He's got the framework now.
And the
motivation.
Yeah. And the whole exchange just ends very simply. After the music, Joseph just says, thanks.
And the father
replies, you're welcome. Understated. But so much meaning packed into that simple exchange after everything they discussed.
A really profound conversation starting from a piece of music.
So when we unpack all that, the core idea that emerges from Joseph's experience is powerful, isn't it?
Definitely. Then this perspective that life's purpose isn't maybe what we conventionally think, climbing ladders, getting recognition.
Right. It's less about personal achievement in that external sense and more about the lasting positive impact on others.
Writing your name, not in history books maybe, but on hearts and minds, through love, through guidance, through just giving of yourself freely.
It's about the trace you leave in the lives you touch. That becomes the measure.
And that metaphor the father uses, life as writing your name, it really shifts things instead of focusing on your own performance, your own concerto.
Which Joseph felt was unmemorable.
Right. Instead, you focus on the melody you create in connection with others, the influence, the shared wisdom, the love. That's the legacy.
Built in those quiet moments, those tiny ways. Which brings us to that final thought from the father.
That we're all just visitors here.
Yeah. And that this impactful writing often happens subtly, in small ways. So thinking about that, it leaves you with a pretty compelling question to ponder, doesn't it? Like, if you really start to recognize and value those small daily acts, the love, the guidance, the generosity, both the ones you receive and the ones you give,
Yeah.
How might that actually change how you see your own purpose, your own legacy that you're building, maybe without even realizing it sometimes? And thinking about the Father's words,
Right.
what tools might you decide to pick up and consciously use today?